there, and welcome to Successfully Depressed. And I'm your host, Kerry. This show is all about helping solopreneurs navigate mental and physical health in life and business. Today's guest is Jason Komosa, who spent over 15 years helping brands like Vitamin Water and Groupon with their sales, go-to-market, and growth strategies. But by age 30, he experienced severe burnout, which led him to seek a mental health coach. This experience deepened his knowledge on all things psychology, philosophy, and neurology. Ultimately becoming a mental health coach himself, his mission is to help leaders in the startup venture hacker world diffuse the stress, tension, anxiety that plagues the body and mind, to stop arguing with reality and to literally create a life of thriving and not just surviving. Welcome to the show, Jason Komosa.
All right. That was beautiful. Well done.
That's a mouthful there.
That was beautiful. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Kerry.
Yeah, I you introduced me to, well, I guess a quick background thing here is we both worked at Groupon many years ago together, and I think we
Yeah.
honestly only met each other maybe once in
Yeah. A
person.
couple of
We
times
had a lot.
maybe.
Yeah, we had a lot of like connections, like Dan Gruber and Matt Rulnick and other people uh, who have had Matt in the show before,
Cool.
which was great. But this last year for me, I just was kind of looking more into increasing my own kind of neurology and psychology and all the different things you talked about. So you mentioned this heroic program that you did about, I don't know, 3, 4 years ago when you did it.
Yeah. More like, yeah.
Or how long ago was it?
It was probably like, yeah, more like probably 4 years ago. Yeah. It's been,
Uh,
I'm just thinking about it now. It's time flies, but yeah, you're right. About 4 years probably.
So you told me about this program, and then I ended up started doing it, the program Heroic, which was formerly called Optimize, I believe.
Correct.
I started it in about August, and I'm still doing it. I will say the last month I haven't been as on top of it, but I'm doing it at my own pace kind of now. It's a very intensive program. It's great. I highly recommend to anyone who just wants to. You don't have to even go through the coaching program. There's apps and other things that you can learn. So that's kind of want to get there. We'll circle back to Heroic later, but what I really want to get started with is just kind of your career and which led you to be this startup Stoic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome question. And thank you so much for, setting it up. This is a lovely thing I like to talk about. So let's dig in. So, I was a 23-year-old kid, fresh out of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. And so I grew up, with a single mother without much money, pretty poor. And so the story I had told myself literally for decades is that, well, once I get enough financial stability to take care of myself and my mother and my younger brother, then everything will be happy. Everything will be great. All my problems will go away. And I was in between trying to decide going to grad school or join the small startup. And I ended up in a huge leap of faith and dropping out of grad school and instead working at this tiny little startup that ended up becoming Groupon. And so through this transition from, let's say, age 24 when I started to age 30, I had found myself in a situation where I was rapidly increasing my personal revenues, moving up the ladder in the company. And I was fortunate enough to have some financial stability. And yet here I was unhappy. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought if I had $100,000 a year, I would be happy. I thought if I had 150, 200,000, whatever it is. And then I got it. And it was like, okay, well, I'm still really empty. And what's going on here? Because for so long, again, the story that I had told myself literally became my reality wasn't true. And that's kind of what really kickstarted me into this mental coaching, psychology world. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I think the one thing I want to point out with that too is that this might be true to you. It's definitely true for me. Is that one thing I noticed um, in when I had my own startup company called Taplister, I became like the identity of my company. And then
Yep.
when I sold the company, I was like, "What's my identity?"
Who
And
am
so I
I?
think that's one of the challenges we have, and I think that's probably what you kind of experienced, kind of with your role, helping develop Groupon into like a national sales role and helping
Yeah.
develop other people is that's kind of like, oh, this thing was a rocket ship that took off and it was a great experience to be there. this is kind of like who I am, but like all I'm doing is working, I'm making good money, but like, am I really happy? I feel like that's
Yeah.
kind of what happened.
It's almost like the story that I told myself was, this is the path. This is the path to happiness. And this is what I want to take. And so you mentioned, I was burnt out. I was ignoring like my needs. So not just, I'm talking like exercise, eating healthier and relationships, like ignoring the things that really mattered to kind of put that aside and say, well, I could do that later. That can wait. I got to go work on some deals, to run next month. I want to close some more deals so I can make more money. So it became this kind of like cycle of, it was almost like a drug. Like it was addictive. Like, hey, I got to work more. I got to close more deals. Um, and I found myself again. I wasn't happy. I like genuinely was like, this is great. I'm grateful, but I'm not intrinsically happy. And that's what really kind of led me down this path of working with Michael Balsham, who was my first coach. And he's now the head coach and president of Heroic.
Yeah, that's great. I know you met him in Chicago area, I believe at a networking event. Tell me a
Yes.
little bit about that. How that kind of came to be. You kind of knew that you needed to figure something out, so you said, okay, let's start networking. Let's see what's out there.
It was very organic. So like I was in the mindset of like, first of all, I've seen a therapist. And to me, and I don't know about others, the listeners, I don't know about you personally, but I felt like therapy was fine. Like it wasn't bad. It just wasn't impactful. I wasn't like, this isn't helping me change my life. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted to be transformed. I wanted to rid myself of of these stories that I was telling myself that really didn't serve my highest purpose. And I think all of us at some point in our lives, or even right now, where we tell ourselves stories and we tell ourselves the stories enough, they literally become our reality.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I've definitely been seeing a counselor for I don't know 20 years or something like that. And the coaching thing is something I've been considering the last couple of years. That's kind of one thing I looked at this program where with the heroic training program, you are your first client is how they posted
Bingo.
it. So that's if you can't do well in yourself, it's harder to truly help out people. I mean, we all are good at probably a lot of us are good at helping other people out, but when it comes to us practicing things, it can be a lot more difficult. So if we can get that down, then it's easier to
Yeah.
truly thrive with the people we're helping.
100%. 100%.
So with the heroic program, I don't know, I think it started like around 2014 or 17 or something, was it?
So the company Heroic, it actually was optimized. Optimize was acquired by Heroic. But the long story short is that this guy Brian Johnson, he essentially was a self-taught philosopher, psychologist, and he's been building this action-based program for the past 20 years. And I think when you talk about like therapy versus what I'm doing with coaching and what Heroic does with coaching, it's action based. So like you can do all the reading and studying and listening and podcasts and whatever else you want. But if you're not actually taking the wisdom that you're ingesting and put it into action, it doesn't matter, right? What's the point? Why just hold in all this beautiful knowledge and not do anything with it?
Yeah, and I think interesting thing about the program, some things I like is kind of like the plus one, where you make these micro improvements over time. And I've
Yeah.
read, I love the book Atomic Habits, and then there's Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg, and they all kind of say the same thing to a certain extent, but just these little micro things. And one thing I've actually personally started doing this month, I know Brian, he likes to break up his push-ups throughout the day, or I guess his burpees, I guess is what he does. And
Burpees.
I
Yeah.
had a messed up shoulder, and I like to do upper body stuff, but for me, doing a lot of push-ups in a row just isn't right. So I just been breaking it into doing 100 push-ups a day and 5 sets, 7 sets depending on the day, and and for me it's just nice because it's like, okay, this is my body can handle it better. It gets me moving more. I know they have the whole kind of 1,000 second philosophy where he says every 1,000 seconds get up and kind of move around because we're so lethargic. So I think there's just a lot of just basic stuff that we all kind of know what to do, but we need kind of a framework to put it into mind and like into our mind. And then what are these steps to actually, take action versus, like you said, just reading things?
Yeah. It's, the analogy I like to use is it's like a personal trainer for your mind and your body and spirit. It's not personal training to go get fit and get a six pack. It's to make sure that your brain and your heart are in the right place. And it's about upgrading that mental software, right? A lot of us are running on AOL from 1995 and they're on a CD-ROM with dial-up,
Well,
right? It's like, hey, you got to upgrade. And we haven't done that. A lot of us are living, we're still, our inner child is still here, even though we're 40, 50, whatever years old.
yeah, it's a challenge in this how society has changed, especially let's just say in the last 10 years with technology and our attention spans going down because, now things like Instagram and YouTube, like shorts and TikTok, it's just like quick information.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's, I want to say I read this really interesting book. I want to say it was called Irresistible. Maybe that was about technology and just how it's all designed, like, Facebook, all these different things are really designed to game your mind to have a short attention span and to game
Yes.
scrolling doom scrolling through things and stuff. So it's kind of scary. And so with it's harder for nowadays, I think, for people in general with society and probably especially in America, just the fast pace that we have and to actually kind of get in tune with ourselves. What are some things that with your clients that you work with to kind of help you in tune?
Well, first thing what I love, I know we talked about like what are some tools or takeaways. One thing that I absolutely love is the idea of block scheduling. And for those of us who are listening who went to high school, which is probably most, if not all people, you'll know that when you go to high school, you have these different, you have your different classes throughout the day. And so when it's 11 a.m. and your chemistry class, you're in chemistry class at 11 a.m., right? And that's where you are. And you're not in gym class and you're not taking a lunch or a break. Like that's where you are. And that's where you belong until chemistry is up and you go to the next class. And so we need to implement these types of tactics as adults. We have the power to control what are we doing with our time, especially in the mornings and the evenings. So why don't we set up our day up, our week up for success and use block scheduling? And that way we're not using this beautiful, precious, finite energy to figure out, well, what am I going to do now? It's 12:45 on Friday. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, my schedule is lined up for me. So I know it's autopilot. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. I'm having a podcast with Kerry. And then after that, boom, here's the next thing. And then I go get my daughter from school. And so it's an autopilot schedule where I don't have to think. Very much like how Mark Zuckerberg, right, wears the same clothes every day. He has 25 t-shirts. He doesn't think about it. It's one less decision to make. And that's the same exact application here in the real world. If you can set up your day on autopilot, you don't have to think about what you're doing because it's already done for you.
Yeah, you only have so much decision making capability in a day, and you're just kind of chipping away at it if you're keeping thinking like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? I definitely have that issue myself, dealing with ADHD, and it makes it a fun challenge. What works for me sometimes is the blocking thing for sure. Like, heroic, you got your AM, PM bookends, what you're talking about, like kind of designing your day. But there's a timer app that I use that actually just goes through.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, am I focusing? Cool. I'm focusing. This is how much time I have versus just like, oh, hey, look at the time here, or look at this rabbit.
Let me go check these. Yeah. Let me check these blogs or let me check the sports scores. And all of a sudden it's an hour later and you're like, oh man, like they don't feel good. So it's the lose-lose situation.
So I guess another question I would have for you is, with when you're working your client, are you following the coaching framework of heroic and then also kind of adding your own flavor into it, or kind of what's your
Definitely. I don't think there's one right way to coach. I think depending upon the person, the personality, and the other person as well, the client. So who am I coaching, right? If I'm coaching a woman, I helped an older woman um, that conversation may be tailored differently than someone who is a 25-year-old fresh out of college guy, right? So the style, the conversation, the communication, that may change, but the core values, the core mission of what we're doing, that doesn't change. And that, at its core, it's about, again, literally building and creating a life that you want and not just like taking what comes your way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's gonna be different for every person, but there's still a framework that you're following to kind of move along, move the needle forward. What if let's say I was seeking out a coach?
Yeah.
What would be steps for me to find a coach to help me with some like a service like yours or something similar to it?
In my experience, there's only two problems in the world. Like people in general there's only two problems. One problem is you don't know what you want. The second problem is you know what you want, you just don't know how to get it. In my experience, there's only two problems. So if you're asking yourself these questions and, and again, you're looking for help, it starts with self, right? What do I want? What do I want out of this? Like start with the end in mind and then you work backwards, reverse engineer. How are we going to get to where we want to go?
Yeah,
That's kind of that would be the game plan. That's like my structure, figuring out, okay, this is our North Star. This is where we want to go. Here's where we are now, right? Here's where we want to go. How do we close that gap? What do we do to make sure that we're moving towards where we want to go? And where we want to go is subjective and dependent upon each individual person. Whether it's a client or a friend or anyone, right? Like it's conversationally, where do you want to go? What do you want to do in your life? Because when you're 95 and you look back and say, wow, I really, did a lot of awesome things, as opposed to, wow, I really regret not doing A, B, C, and D. That's kind of, again, starting with the end in mind.
is your coaching, is this something that people work with you on for a year, for several months? Or I guess how does it work? Because I mean, let's just kind of break it down. Like coaching for dummies, like what's the most like basic level, kind of what the nuts and bolts is if someone was to do coaching with you or just in general.
Yeah. I mean, so basic, there's lots of different ways to be coached. You could do one-on-one coaching, which is typically what I do. You can do small groups, which I've done before. You can do larger groups. And then you can do kind of like the impersonalized, just general self-knowledge, self-improvement, books, podcasts, and so on that are tailored to really anyone specifically, just general information. Typically, it's about at minimum, it's a 6-month program to work with me. And really, again, it's not about reading certain books. Like we're changing your life. And the reason that the reason that I'm doing this, the reason that I enjoy doing what I'm doing is because of the significant and life-changing attribute that I receive from my coaching, right? So I'm giving back. I feel like this is my calling. I studied psychology at undergrad. I was going to go get my doctorate of psychology at the University of Chicago. So psychology has always been in my blood, and I'm mixing it with sales, right? When you're in the sales business world, if you don't understand psychology, you're not going to thrive. So again, kind of blending the two worlds of business and psychology and meshing them together and helping folks. I love it.
And this, let's get a little bit into the psychology of sales. And I know that's something that is kind of one of the things you kind of help with people too. And you had success at Groupon and some other places. Sales.
Yeah.
I know you've also helped out some different you were an investor and also helped out a company called Doorman for a while. And
Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
so from all that experience that you have from that, what are some great self-care tips for people that are in sales? Because it is that roller coaster, highs and lows. You're high, when you're low, you're low. It's just, and you're only as good as your last sale. So what are some things that you did for yourself during those times when it was really difficult? We're like, oh, next sell, next sell. And
Well, the very first rule of thumb that I would ask of all folks, especially sales, is to have the two buckets. You have two buckets here in your hand. One of the buckets is things you can't control. The other bucket is things you cannot control. And so I'd ask you to take the bucket that you cannot control and put it out of your vision, because so many people, especially in the sales world, are focusing on lots of stuff they can't control, like sign contracts. You cannot control how many contracts you get signed. That's just a fact. You can control the efforts, you can control the messaging, the strategy, the number of hours you work, or the quality of work, the quality of work that you put in. You cannot control how many contracts are signed. So the more that you kind of get to the root of this idea of stoicism, right? Hey, I'm going to focus on the things that I know I have a direct control over. That's what you want to work with. That's stay in your world, stay in your lane, and ignore the rest. That's one of the things that really helped me in my sales career. I'm going to focus on what I can control. And if I'm above goal, I'm going to work the same amount. And if I'm below goal, I'm still going to work the same amount. And some managers might not like that, but too bad. It's like, this is how much I'm going to work. I'm always going to give it my best. Some days I'm going to be better than other days, but I'm going to know that, look, there's another day ahead of me and I'm going to just do my best.
Yeah, I know in my really early sales career, I used to work for a company called City Search, which was
Yeah.
kind of Yelp before Yelp.
Yeah. I remember City Search.
It was a cool place to work. Just it was a online review website, and we sold advertising. That's kind of got my bug into the startup world and selling online. But I know one time, sometimes I set unrealistic goals and I would hit them, but I would just not be healthy. It got so bad. Anytime I was out with my wife, I would keep in my wallet and then back up one to her. I'm always be closing. I was like, I gotta sell. And then
You're always on. You're always on.
yeah, yeah. And so you have to have that balance. And if you're always that way, then you kind of burn out. I know that I like won a award for kicking butt in the region and stuff, but then I was good for a while. Then I was like, a few months later, I kind of felt kind of burned out, and I was like, wow, I really overdid it and stuff. So it's like, that's that thing you have to learn, that consistency over time, like you said. And
Energy management. You have to manage your energy. And Kerry, think about this. LeBron James, arguably one of the best NBA basketball players of all time, right? What is he? Think about this. Like, what would happen if LeBron James just played basketball all day? Like, he wouldn't be that good at basketball. Why? Because the things that he does off of the court, relax, sleep, meditate, yoga, eat healthy, have fun, hang out with his kid and wife, like all these things that he's doing off of the court contribute to his success while on the court. And I think, especially in the business world, we sometimes just ignore that. Well, I can push aside my exercise, or I can push aside my playtime, if you will, to do another hour's worth of work. We just ignore these needs and wants that we have to continue to just plow through. And really what we're doing is we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because the work that we're doing is not quality, right? It's not a quality block of work. We're just working to work. Our brain is dead. We need to get off the computer and go rejuvenate ourselves, recharge.
most of my career, I've worked from home. My early part of career, we work from home. You're like, how is this working? Everything, but then you have to figure out the systems. And like in Heroic, I know they shut down complete when you're done with the day. Like, okay, you're done with work, and then move on to more self-care.
What's next?
Yeah, exactly. And my wife's always been great at that. She's in finance, and when she's done, she's done. And so when she works, she's just on point. But when she's done, she's like, and she leaves the worry at work, even though she works at home. So like, I really think it's
Yeah.
amazing when people can really have that energy to do that consistently.
Well, think about this. If I was a neurosurgeon that was saving people's lives, and I'm like, that's okay. You want to come call me at any hour? Like, that's understandable. Most people are not saving people's lives as a neurosurgeon. So why are you on Slack at 11 p.m. to try to close this? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. We don't need to be online all the time. And yet we are, right? Slack and email and text message, like all of a sudden, over the past 20 years, we've now opened up our entire lives to work. Work can now intrude us whenever we want, whenever they want. Whereas in 1990, you didn't have this. You didn't have cell phones. You didn't have email. People went to work and then they came home, and like, most likely you couldn't do your work at home because the work was at the office. So again, it's this kind of bizarre world we live in where we allow ourselves to be open, especially with notifications on. Like, you're asking for it. Turn the fucking notifications off. You know?
And we're not designed for that either. That's the thing. It's like it's advanced so
No.
much in a short period of time. We're not designed with it, but it keeps pushing forward. And so that's where like one of my favorite things to do is to go for walks,
Yes.
get out, just my neighborhood or nature, and it just and I take that approach where it's like I say I put a really low number in my head. Let's go for a 10-minute walk, and then it typically turns into half an hour or more.
Yeah.
And so that's like really helpful too, because then you're exceeding your goal. You're outside, then you're starting enjoying it. Maybe you're listening to a podcast. Maybe you're just listening to the birds outside.
Yeah. And here's the crazy part about that is that for a lot of people in the world of 2023, that is the challenge. The challenge is to go out and walk or take a break. The challenge is not to do work because you're so focused and driven on this progress of work that you're making it's actually harder for you to go take that break or to go exercise than it is for you to actually, do the work you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, you get in kind of the zone, or you have meetings back to back to back. That's why it's like you need to have a little bit of time in between meetings to kind of reset your mind and everything, take a break.
Yeah.
It's kind of this go, go, go thing. And that's where I think it's nice about a lot of companies nowadays are having more flexible schedules with work from home or hybrid, or, you have a core hour of the day, like maybe 5 hours. Everyone needs to be on this kind of overlapping time.
Mhm.
But we all, like you talked about energy earlier, we're all different with energy. Like for me, I have more energy. Definitely, I'm a more early riser. So like theory, I want to work out in the morning and then like do my more intensive mind work in the morning, and then the afternoon, try to do more creative work or more admin stuff that takes less brain power. So realizing that, because not everyone's the same. And so like if you're working
Yeah.
somewhere and it's just constant go, 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 and then the afternoon, you're like your time when you're like, okay, I'm kind of at my bandwidth limit. And then you're like something really intense comes in. It's just like, it gets overwhelming. It's like, does not compute.
Yes.
Basically.
And I think we have to give a huge shout out to like engineers and folks in the tech world, because at least in my impression, it seems like the tech world, the engineers and so on, they kind of paved the way for other folks, because the engineers in the tech world oftentimes will work like late at night, or they'll work till 2 a.m, but they don't start work till 11 a.m. the next day. And that's okay, right? Like you said, companies should be able to empower their employees to let them work when they want to work and when they do their best work. Now, of course, are there caveats? Sure, you got to be online. Everyone's got to be online a couple hours a day. Yeah. But let the people do their best work when they work best. And if that's at 2 a.m., so be it.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if I had the developer mindset, I would kind of can create your own, job to a certain extent nowadays. It's great. But yeah, I have a friend that he works late at night, or he'll work for a couple hours during the daytime, then late at night. And that's just when it works for him. He has, he
Yeah.
has a kid and everything. And so like, it's just like his time to kind of get in the zone. But hey, to each their own. I mean, for me, I'm like, you're typing at like, you're coding at 3 a.m. No, I can't do that. I'll be getting up in like 3 hours. So
Yeah. Or less.
yeah, exactly. The next thing I kind of want to bring up is I'm kind of curious about when you were working for Vitamin Water, actually, because that's
Mhm.
another like company that just took off. I know 50 Cent got a lot of money out of it. I don't know how well he's doing now based off of everything. He did more of an equity play, which worked out well for him
He
initially.
did. He did. Yeah.
So what was your role in that company, and kind of how was that trajectory?
Yeah. So this is a really good story. Let me just back up a step and I'll share the story, and I hope this empowers at least one person to go out there and do this because it works. I was a sophomore in college, and I was looking for a part-time job to support myself throughout school. And so this was like in the springtime. And so a lot of my friends were looking at applying to Target and Whole Foods. Nothing wrong with these places, right? They're reputable businesses. I shop there. It's great. So they're all applying to these jobs to get summer jobs slash jobs during the summer or school year, I should say. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, I'm 19. I kind of want to like do something cool and fun. So I'm going to make a list of 25 companies and I'm just going to reach out to them and express my desire to help them grow. So Kerry, this is 2004. So there was no LinkedIn. Facebook was only for college kids. And what I did was I sent a 12-week time frame. This is all like, I just thought of, like, I literally just thought of it. I didn't like do research. I'm like, I'm going to give myself 12 weeks. I'm going to cold call, cold email, and I'm actually going to write letters and mail them into these companies, expressing to them my desire to help them grow. And the worst case scenario here, Kerry, 12 weeks go by, I get all no's or I get all silence, so no response at all. And then I go get a job at Target or Whole Foods like everyone else is doing. That's the worst case scenario here. And so sure enough, I just hammered the phones, 800 numbers, talking to random people. Again, I'm expecting nothing to happen. I'm expecting this to be a spectacular failure and I'm going to go work at Target and I'll be fine. And so I think week 6 or 7 is when I got a call from someone and it was an unknown number. So I didn't pick up. Listen to the voicemail and it's this woman who says, hey, I'm, Mary or whatever from Vitamin Water Corporate. I got your information, but I need to verify that it's okay for me to share your information with the head in Chicago. So I called her back and said, yeah, let's do it. And so she called me and I was like stunned. Of course, I'm a kid. I'm like, what? This worked? So I get, have an interview and I got the job and I was there for a year part-time. It was incredible. And they're like, you should drop out and like work full-time with us. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. You want me to drop out of college? No, like that was the farthest thing in my mind from like, that wasn't even a possibility. I was in school. I had grants and loans and all I was just like, no way. And so sure enough, years later, Vitamin Water was purchased. Coca-Cola bought Vitamin Water for $4 billion. So had I have dropped out, it would have probably been a good move financially, but I don't regret it because again, the lessons were there and I learned from that instance. I learned from the Vitamin Water situation. And that's what drove my decision to drop out of grad school to join Groupon.
Okay, that's a great story because what I like about it too is that you took a risk while in college, but it was a calculated risk. You're like, oh, I just want to see if I can work at these different companies. And it shows like you're a go-getter. It shows that you're like this kind of entrepreneurial spirit. Who know with startups, you never know if something's going to take off. It's like, and that's
No,
like with Groupon, it was like an amazing one too. So it's like with like 2, which is really hard. I mean, I've been trying to find the next Groupon to work out for years myself because it was so much fun and so many great people. So I like that's a great story just to kind of come full circle and
yeah. Well, in my mind, I was again thinking, so after the Vitamin Water thing, because I saw all my bosses, right? When Coke bought us, like they were out buying Aston Martins and like clearly they had enough money to easily retire. And then I got laid off because at the time, again, I wasn't, it just Coke ingested everything Vitamin Water and I got laid off. So then I'm thinking, okay, I'll go back to school, I'll get my doctorate, da, 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 da. And then when I came across this small company in Chicago, which is Groupon, I was like, I have to work there. And I did the same thing, just cold call. I actually harassed Andrew Mason on the phone. I was like, I got to just give me an interview, man. Like, let's just talk. And so that's kind of how things ended up at Groupon.
well, that's awesome. So you had the gift of gab and selling yourself into these roles at these positions and
Well, and it was passion. It was passion based. Like the reality is, Kerry, that the offer I got at Groupon was dog shit, right? Like,
yeah.
it was not a great job offer. It was a standard sales role. I think it was $35,000 or $40,000 base salary and a little too many equity. And I was like, this is like something I'm going to be a part of. And so again, I didn't join for the money. I joined because I wanted to make a difference. And I love the mission. Yeah.
was it always at the old Montgomery Awards building, even in the beginning?
So it was there at the old Montgomery Ward's building that's 600 West Chicago. And then we grew so fast that we actually had to temporarily move into the
The Wacker.
um, 303 East Wacker,
Yeah.
which is the KPMG building, I think. And
Yeah.
so I think it's accounting. I think it's some big accounting firm. And I remember like the first week we were there was like 25, 26, 27-year-old kids. This was the summertime. And like, it was just like taken over by these Groupon kids. It was, oh man, what a wild ride.
When I started working there, I think I was about 30. And so there's always like younger people, and I've always been kind of a younger kid at heart myself. But I was like, wow, these kids are really young. I remember going through the training, and the trainer was like, oh, you already know all these different sales tactics. I'm like, yeah, I've been, doing sales for a while. I'm not just out of college, but it's like, it was cool because they listened to you there. Cause like I created a job there as community manager. I pitched this idea that we had some negative, talk going on. Portland's kind of, especially at the time, was kind of like the biggest, small town mentality. Everyone kind of knows everyone's, it's more liberal, and people had this the Lamb Week, our weekly kind of like Time Out Chicago or something.
Mhm.
It said poop. It said on the cover Calvin and Hobbes. And it said poop on Groupon, and people were just upset because the early days of Groupon, everyone was trying to figure things out, and then people might sell, be able, could be overzealous salespeople selling, oh, let's sell them a million Groupons, and it's like 20 seat like restaurant where they can't handle the capacity. And then later on, we had the calculators that figure out capacity and stuff. So we figured all that kind of stuff out. So I had the kind of a role where I pitched this thing. I wrote a business plan, pitched it to Darren and to my boss, John Waller. And then within like 6 months, I had this job, and it was a dream job, and it was amazing. And the only reason I left
Nice.
Groupon is because at the same time I was working on a startup myself, and I got accepted to a tech incubator to raise some money. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like I kind of have like this Groupon dream job, but then like there's like I have to try this thing. Uh, so I think what I'm trying to say here is, it's nice to take risks. Not everyone wants to take risks, but I've taken a lot of risks, and I think we've all had a lot of success and a lot of failures. And uh, but if you don't try, then as you get older in life, you're like, why didn't I? Because a lot of people, are like, oh, I
Yeah.
had that idea, or oh, I wish I would have done this or that. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's different ways to do it, and it is a roller coaster, working for startups, or having your own. So I think
Yeah.
there's some great stories behind it.
Yeah, everyone wants to hit a home run or a grand slam, but nobody wants to step inside the batter's box, right? And so you have to be willing to strike out. And the only way to hit a double or a single or a triple or a home run is to be willing to strike out. Um,
Yeah, we got to get some sports references here. We got to, go.
Agreed.
And LeBron's amazing, but I'm on Team Jordan. So
Well, of course. I mean, Jordan's
I
not
know
playing.
you
I
like to
could have
kind
used
of.
I could have used
I
Jordan. I didn't because he's not playing, but you get the idea. Yeah, it's and speak really quick, speaking of baseball, another quick stat which I love to throw around. Okay, the average Hall of Famer has a 300 batting average, right? So what that means is you are in the Hall of Fame if you lose 7 out of 10 pitches. You hit 3 of 10, you are a Hall of Famer. That means you lose 7 out of 10 times and you're still in the Hall of Fame. So you're losing more than twice what you're winning, and yet you still make it.
that's wild. That's a great stat because you don't really think about that baseball. You're just like, okay, you're batting 300, but you're like, oh yeah, actually, if that was like if you're shooting foul shots, that'd be terrible in basketball. So everything is kind of different. You have to Not everything in life is apples to apples. So um, on a side note, I saw this stat actually today, from 98 to 2000. No, what was it? 88 to 2002. Tony Gwynn hit 300 with two strikes on the pitch count.
That's unbelievable.
He's just one of the best like hitters of all time. So that's a random fun.
Random sports back from the day. All right. I like it. I like it.
Um, that are some of the things that I know you worked in consulting or you worked as to help out venture capitalists as an advisor at
Yeah.
some different startup companies. So maybe speak to a little bit of your experience doing that. I'm just kind of interesting because this show is about kind of business and kind of wellness. So
Yeah. So when it comes to some of the advisor roles I've had, uh, typically it's through an introduction or referral. And my goal again is to provide value to an entrepreneur who is running a business and doesn't really know or does not have their expertise living in the sales world. Sales is hard, right? It's not something where you could just pick up a book and read. You have to learn through execution, through doing, through action. And so my experience, right? I've been doing sales since Vitamin Water 19, 20, almost 20 years. There's an art to it. And I explain it like I'm not in the sales world. I think there are like sales scientists. Those are the sales enablement folks and the numbers folks. That's not me. Sales operations. I'm an artist. I like to help with the language, tonality, the feeling. How are you educating the market on your pain killing product or service? And so, more often than not, again, these folks who will want to bring me on board as an advisor need help in understanding how to make sure their sales marketing or sales messaging and positioning is optimized for the highest chance of adoption.
um, what would be an example of a company that you worked with over the last, 10 years and maybe something that you helped them achieve? Maybe it was a strategy, maybe it was coaching the sales staff.
So one of my most recent advisory engagements was with a company called Trash Warrior. They recently rebranded. I should look it up real quick because I forgot the new name, and I should know this, right? I'm part of the company, but really, it's called Dimension now. The company is called Dimension. It's a 500 stars backed company, and what they're doing is making waste disposal easier for the consumer or for the business owner, and then also more healthy for the earth. So that to me, like that's something that I can get behind, right? A meaningful mission to the world is swimming in plastic. Like, what can we do to help solve this problem? So with Lily, who's the founder and CEO, super smart woman, went to Princeton, I think a Harvard MBA. Like you're talking about the top tier of intelligence, and she did sales wasn't her specialty. And so when we kind of had conversations, it was about me helping her kind of just understand, well, we have to architect this business in a way that is easy to understand. Again, it's a painkiller. It's not a vitamin. And again, the psychological messaging and strategy behind all the outbound campaigns, emails, the cold call scripts, anything, right? Anything that involves external sales materials. I want to help. I want to help with that because one wording or one comma period, all of a sudden it changes the tonality of the message. So, and I like doing this. It gets me excited. It gets me pumped up to be able to help people who need help.
Yeah, I've been kind of refreshing up on some sales books I read before. I just reread a couple months ago the Challenger Sales. Uh, what's it? Teach, tailor, take control. It's kind of the mythology. And what I find interesting is just how much sales has really changed because of the internet. In the last 10 years or something, where uh, before the salespeople were more the gatekeeper of the information and the pricing and things like that. But now with the internet, there's so much information. So that's where like inbound marketing is so important, where you're creating great content. You're creating stuff like my favorite example of inbound marketing is HubSpot. I absolutely love their blog. I'm a fan of them, and I don't even use. I've used I guess their CRM, but I don't pay for their product. But I'm a champion of them, and that's like the point of it. Like, this is a great thing you're creating, but they're creating all this great content. So eventually, if I come to the point where I need that system, I'll probably go with that system. So it's just a lot different in how we kind of are selling to people. So, what are your kind of thoughts on kind of the changes of sales in the last, in your experience?
Yeah. I mean, so it's building trust, right? Like I think you literally just, that example you gave, you trust HubSpot, right? There is a relationship there, even though that they are not receiving one cent from you yet. you have a relationship with them, you're comfortable with them. Um, I also think the entire world of sales is slowly getting out of this kind of like icky or gross, like sales, right? People think like a used car salesman.
Yeah.
I think it's like, for me, sales is helping people, right? And sales is educating the market on a product or service they may or may not know exists, and then detaching yourself from the outcome, right? I stole that from one of my sales mentors, Josh Braun. You detach yourself from the outcome. You don't care if they buy or not. Why? Because you're educating them, and some people are going to buy and some are not. And if you know that as a salesperson, you're going to diffuse this self-generated stress that you have living in your body about quota and closing deals, all this stuff, because you have this awareness that, like, you know what? I'm going to do my best. And that's that. I'm going to try my best. And only you know if you try your best or not. Right? Like, I don't know if you tried your best. Your boss, he or she might not know, but really you in your core, you know, did I give it my all? Did I give it my best, or did I not?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I know this in my own experience. When I've been my best is when I've had a game plan, like a daily, I would, create a game plan on Sunday for the week. Then Monday morning, I review it. Then the end of the day, admin and review the next day. And I did that. I was successful. If I didn't do that, it was just scatterbrain.
Yeah.
So like there's a strategy in there. It's also just kind of different. There's different types. The thing about reading all these different sales philosophies too is that it's interesting, but also it's like you have to take it with a grain of salt, because like when I was selling like ERP software, there's like the BANT philosophy.
Yeah. Budget.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. And that came from like, was that budget,
Authority,
need,
need,
timeline?
and time.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's from like the '60s, like IBM. So it's like
It is.
things have changed a lot, and then those different things we sell. Like when I worked in college in sales at Circuit City, and I loved home theater systems, and I was so passionate about selling stereos, and I just, as a hobby, I would tinker with stereos. I would like read all the ads. Remember newspaper ads back in the day?
Yes, of course.
And I interviewed for them, and I'm 18. It's not like it's really a hard job to get at the time, but I wrote a business plan and I presented it to them. And
It's
like,
awesome.
they're just like, what? And that was probably my favorite job ever. I would come in, I would only, during the school year, besides Christmas, I'd only work on Sundays. And the store manager is like, Kerry, you're the man, come in here and do this stuff. It was just because I loved it. Like you said, the passion. So I think passion, and I know that's like, if you don't have a lot of passion you're selling, it makes it hard, unless you're maybe like kind of a sleazy salesperson who's kind of make stuff up, which at Circuit City, I had a guy who would make stuff up, and it made me so mad. I'm like, he's talking to people. I'm like, that's not even true. Like, you're just, it's like the flux capacitor and like, um, Back to the Future kind of thing. So
Yeah, right.
maybe that exists. Who knows now? Um, but when I was kind of getting to, there's a lot of different like philosophies out there, and if that was a feature benefit type sell, and now it's there's solution selling, and then it's just all these different things. But when it comes down to it, like you mentioned earlier, it's the psychology, of it, and like helping people out and connecting them, and really teaching them not pushing the pain buttons so much, but it's more about teaching them something they don't know, and that's what it's really become. Now it's like teach them an industry problem that maybe they don't realize they have, but and then like they walk away, even if they don't work with you, they might come back to you.
Exactly. So here's a really quick story. I love the idea. It's illumination, right? You're illuminating something they may or may not know is happening. And one of the sales tactics that I use to help get me a meeting with the executives at Jet.com, which is a Walmart company, I would actually go onto Twitter. This was when I was at Doorman, Doorman was an e-commerce logistics company that got acquired. But essentially, I would go onto Twitter and I would search at UPS at jet.com or at Walmart. And I would take a screenshot of the tweet and I would copy the tweet and I would paste it in the body of the email. So don't attach to the email, actually copy the tweet, paste it in the email so that when they open it up, what do they see? This tweet about how this customer hates jet.com because their perishable package was fucked up by UPS. Now the customer is mad at jet.com. Jet.com has nothing to do with it. It's actually most likely UPS's fault, but it doesn't matter. The perception of the customer is they're pissed at Walmart or jet.com and how they're never going to work with jet.com again. So I would copy these tweets and send them to all the executives at Walmart. And sure enough, now all of a sudden they're interested in having a meeting with us because they see that this is a real thing happening. And if they want to choose to ignore it, cool, go ahead, keep ignoring it. It's still going to happen. Or let's have a conversation and talk about how we can solve this problem. And that's what led to the actual pilot of, we did all of the jet.com deliveries in Manhattan. It was crazy. But yeah, that's what started it, is this illumination of, hey, this is a problem that's happening. If you want to ignore it and pretend it's not there, go ahead. If not, let's talk.
That's a great idea. I'm putting that into the bank there. That's, yeah, the clever things like that. I mean, that's actually what's fun about sales too, is like, is the creativity. And that's why I think why I did sales for a long time, then I switched to marketing and I'm looking to get back into sales, is because the creativity of things. I really like that, that's what you did there.
Exactly. Separate yourself from the pack, right? The average business, let's say VP level employee gets 200 emails a day. How many handwritten letters or how many snail mail pieces of mail does he receive? He or she? None. So if you really want to win an account, how about writing them a letter? Like literally writing them a letter or mailing it in. And all of a sudden you have one letter versus 400 unread emails. Like, what are your odds there? I would go with the letter.
Yeah. I one time for a job interview, I got an interview because my resume, it was for like this, those like Sprinter vans that people like live in and stuff or camp in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was a company in Oregon that, they rented their vans out, or they sold systems that retrofitted those kind of vans.
Mhm.
And I came up with the idea of making a piece of paper that would fold into one of the vans. And I looked online and I found like a template for one. And then my friend's a designer. I had him put like the logo and stuff on there of the van. So when I sent to them, the back, if you turn over the resume on the back side, you would fold it into you could turn into a little van.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So I was like, I like that too. I like to get really kind of outside creative, because I think like, even though I didn't get the job, I got the interview, and that's like, for me, I want to at least get that.
That's the win.
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
win.
And that's like when you like submit all these different resumes and stuff all the time, it gets frustrating, because all you want is that ability to get in front of a person and do your best. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least you got to try, versus just being, a number in this this system, like, if you will.
100%. So my last company, Blackheart, we opened up the account executive positions. The first business development position, the very first position that we had open for sales, biz dev world. And we got, 200 maybe applicants. And the woman we ended up hiring, Palu, she didn't apply. Like, there was no formal application. She emailed me. She emailed Donnie, who was my friend and the CEO of Blackheart. And she basically said, hey, I saw this role open. Here's why I'm a good fit. And here's what I can do for you. Here's where I can provide the most value. Here's why. And that was it. Wasn't like this long, it was just a very short three-paragraph email, but that's what bumped her to the top of the list. We interviewed and she was the best fit. So it's like, for those job seekers out there, or for those folks who are wanting to break into a company that they really love, don't wait for an opening. Don't wait for like an application. Like, just go out, keep going, keep emailing people, keep trying. Why? Because if I'm the CEO of Nike and someone wants to send me their resume in a Nike shoebox, that shows me that they really want to work at Nike and not necessarily just any old shoe company.
Yeah, definitely. It's it, I always look at and I look at job hunting as basically a sales cycle because it is. You're moving yourself through a pipeline. And I even used for a while I was using HubSpot CRM as my tracker. And because you can also send emails there, you can see if people open up the emails and stuff like that because it's
Yep,
HTTP.
yep, yep.
I can create templates in there. So I totally like I geeked out on that and like I could track things and like it's just but it is that's what it is. It's a sales cycle, and so um, you got to get creative with that.
Yeah. And again, if I'm the boss or I'm the hiring manager, I'm going to want someone to work for me just as much as they like. I want to have it be a two-way street, right? I don't want someone who just wants a job anywhere. I want someone who wants a job at my company.
Exactly. I'm trying to think here. I think we covered the main kind of things I was interested in chatting about. Is there anything that you're excited about coming up with your company, or anything yeah, just obviously you're excited because you have a newborn kiddo, so your life is very busy right now. But what's something that you're excited about right now?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at some notes here that I took. Jotted down before the call here. Um, let's see. Well, you mentioned like a newborn, right? So I have a newborn son. He's about, I don't know, 7 or 8 weeks old, 7 weeks old. And one thing that I'm continuing to really like hone in on and kind of craft my skill is the idea of parenting yourself, right? This idea that if you have a child or a pet or a niece or a nephew, you have a younger one, you have someone that you love that's younger than you. And let's say this niece comes home from school and she's upset because she got a bad grade on her test, right? 7-year-old niece, she gets a bad grade on her test. In what sort of fashion or how would you show up? Well, you most likely would be loving and caring and understanding, empathetic, encouraging, positive, right? You would be showering her with love and, hey, you know what? It's okay. We can try better next time. And, all these things about positive reinforcement and showing love and care, right? And so take that theory from the 7-year-old niece and then take that same exact application to the 45-year-old version of yourself, right? Because what happens when we're 45 and we don't get that job that we really wanted? I'm a fucking idiot. I don't deserve that job. Why would that company ever want to hire me? I'm worthless. All this rambling negativity. Why would we do that to ourselves? We would never do that to our 7-year-old niece or daughter. Why are we beating ourselves up? It makes no sense. And obviously it's easier said than done, but it's like, take that application of parenting and parent yourself. Show yourself some fucking love. Adults don't do that. Adults just beat themselves up.
That's me. That you're kind of exploring that as maybe something you want to kind of like write about or kind of like develop something
It's
that
like,
kind of help.
yeah, as a new parent, it's like you have your infant, your child, they want and need and crave so much love and forgiveness. And like I said, this is like at some point in our lives, we like flip a switch almost where it's like, well, we're done showing ourselves like love, or I'm sorry, we're done showing like, we're not applying what we need to apply for us. We're only doing it for others, not to ourselves. And that doesn't help.
Yeah, I'll yeah, keep me updated with that. That'd be interesting. Yeah, just some takeaways. Actually, that might be good. I know you do webinars sometimes. I did one on
Yeah.
LinkedIn and stuff with you, and
Yeah.
so that could be a good one for that to kind of explore people. Um, well, I really appreciate your time today. What I would like to know is where can people find you online?
Yeah, sure. So if you want to reach me on my website, it's jkcoach.me. That's the letters J, K, and then coach.me, M-E. Or you just shoot me an email, jason.komosa@gmail.com. I'm happy to chat. And yeah, like I said, one life, man. We're on this planet. We got another good, let's say 50, 60 years left. Let's fucking make it an awesome 50, 60 years.
Let's do it. Let's go. Jason, again, thank you for your time. I always like to end the show with a saying: remember, you're not alone in life or business.